Yes, it is true. The cost of college has gone up. In fact, in the last 20 years, the cost of college for a public institution has gone up 141%, while for a private institution, it has gone up 101.3%. Now, if you're like me, you're saying, oh, that's expensive. And ironically enough, the need for education after high school has not changed. That basically means a college graduate will make, on average, $33,000 more in a year than someone with a high school diploma. But clearly, it's really expensive. So, are there any alternatives? Well, the conversation has been swirling all online about community colleges. So, in today's video, we are going to explore community colleges, its pros and its cons, and if it is indeed a better option. Hello. Welcome to Paid for College, where we're all about helping you to avoid crazy student loan debt. And if that sounds like something you're into, you know what to do. Go ahead and tap that like button and subscribe. And let's get into today's video. So, community colleges are a public accredited institution that is within your state that is providing more affordable access to education. So, community colleges offer you 2-year programs or certificates. So, within a community college, you'll be able to take either classes to earn your associate's degree, which will be about 2 years. So, you can earn an associate's in arts or an associate's in science degree. Or you can also go to community colleges for vocational or trade training, which means that they are going to teach you skills for a particular type of field or study that's in demand. Or you can also do some career changing, which means that you can take certificate programs to help you change your career, or to specialize in a particular field or for a particular job. So, community colleges offer all three of those options. And so, we're going to dive in a little bit more about what are the benefits and some of the considerations. I don't like using the word cons, but we're going to talk about some considerations that you might want to consider if you're thinking about going to community college. So, there are 5 benefits that we want to cover today with community colleges. The first one is flexible scheduling. So, one of the benefits of community college is that they offer classes at more convenient times. They'll even have more offerings of classes at different times. So, if you are going to be someone who is going to be working part time and you still want to go to school, or maybe you're a parent or you have other obligations and you still want to work towards your education, then community college will be a great option for you because they will have classes that you will need to complete your certification or your program in multiple times. So that way you, the more likely, are not going to have to maneuver your life in order to take a class. You can actually schedule the class around your life. So that is one of the benefits to community college. The second benefit to community college is smaller class sizes. Now, we're all aware of those images of classes that have 300, 200 people in them for your 4-year institutions. And so that might not be the best environment for you to learn, and you want to actually have one-on-one attention or at least have smaller access to your professors. And so community colleges do this a wonderful job at doing this because they offer so many classes at different times. Then you have the ability to have one-on-one support, or just have the ability to really understand the concepts of what you're learning in a smaller setting for you. The third benefit to community colleges will be career training. Now, career training is basically saying, hey, there's a specific job that I want to go after, and I want to start my employment as soon as possible. Maybe you don't want to wait 4 years to start working at a specific type of field. Many colleges will have that ability for you to take classes that might have a program or certificate program that's 6 months to a year, or maybe even a full 2 year program. But it's going to get you into that field, having all the skills that you need in order to start employment quicker than you would at a 4 year institution. The fourth thing, and you're probably wondering why I haven't mentioned it yet, the fourth benefit of community college is lower cost, obviously. Now, when we say lower cost, what are we really talking about here? So, with lower costs, as we can see, is that for a 4 year institution or any institution of education, they're going to base their tuition by the amount per credit hour. So basically, what this means, if you are taking a class that's 3 credits, and then they say, well, it's going to cost $178 per credit hours. That's $173 times 3 because it's per credit hour. So for one class, you'll actually be paying 173 times 3 for that one class. Now, for a 4 year institution, that same class might actually be 400 and something dollars per credit hour. So as you can see, already a big difference there. But also another benefit that community colleges have is what we call a college promise. So right now, all 50 states have a college promise program, which means there is at least one community college within the state that allows for students to either go to that community college tuition free or at a reduced rate. And so that is a major benefit that can save you a ton of money, which is why there's so much consideration and talk about community colleges as that being an alternative option for you to still get your education taking similar classes or even the same exact classes for a less expensive price. So community colleges by far allow for you to also pay per class. So that way you could, as we talked about with flexible scheduling, you don't have to enroll for all classes at one time. You can also enroll for one class at a time. Maybe you want to take 2 classes a semester, or you want to take one class this fall and then take 2 classes in the summer. You're able to do that. Now you're probably thinking, well, what if I want to get a bachelor's degree? Because again, a community college will only give you up to an associate's degree. So what if you're saying, well, the field that I'm trying to get into requires a bachelor's degree in order for me to work at that particular job or work for that particular company? Well, there is benefit number 5, which is transfer pathways. So not only does your community college allow for you to take classes at a less expensive rate with flexible scheduling and smaller class sizes, it also gives you a pathway to obtain your bachelor's degree, which means that you can go to community college for those 2 years, complete your associate's degree, and then transfer to a 4-year institution where you will be able to transfer all of the credits and classes that you've taken over in your community college into a 4-year degree, 4-year institution where you will be able to transfer all of the credits and classes that you've taken over in your community college into a 4-year degree program. So instead of starting as a freshman at a 4-year degree and paying that higher rate of cost, you will actually be starting as a junior at the 4-year institution and then completing your last 2 years at that additional rate to get your bachelor's degree. So these are all the benefits that community college will help you to do. So that way you can start to think like, oh, well, if that's the case, then yeah, I can go to community college. I can still work. That will allow for me to pay for classes as I go. It allows for me to select my classes flexibility wise, and it helps me to save money as I pursue my bachelor's degree. Now, let's talk about all the things you should consider before selecting community college in order for you to get the best bang for your buck. There are four different considerations that I want to cover with us today. The first one is that all your credits might not transfer. Yeah, that is true. So basically, if you are considering this as your alternative to going into a four-year institution and you want to obtain your bachelor's degree, it is very important that you do some legwork and understanding, will these credits transfer over to the institution that I'm thinking about attending? So basically, there might be a situation where your community college credits or classes might not transfer over to the 4 year that you are thinking about. So, one of the ways to check that is that some community colleges will have what's called a articulation agreement, which means that yes, the community colleges already have a arrange where they have a partnership with the 4 year institutions in the state, the 4 year public institutions within the state, to say if you transfer from this community college into these public 4 year institutions, these credits will transfer over. And so you want to check that articulation agreement to see what classes should you be taking so you don't end up taking classes that you don't need or that will not count, because if you don't do that, you run the risk of having to retake that class at the 4 year institution, which means also at the 4 year institution price. We don't want that. Or you're going to have to end up taking longer to complete your degree because you do have to take more classes. So just something to consider. So go ahead and put in the comments if you're like, hey, can you do a video on that? On like, how do I check if my credits will transfer over? What's the best process to do that? I got you. Okay. Let's go on to number 2 of considerations. The number 2 considerations is limited specializations and career training, which means, hey, you might be thinking, hey, yes, this sounds great. I'm going to enroll in a community college so I can become a nursing assistant. Well, not all of the community colleges will have all of the specializations and career training for every single job. Some of the community colleges might have certain specializations. So there could be one in a certain town that says, hey, we focus on healthcare over here. Another one might focus on tech. Another one might focus on culinary. Another one might focus on construction. The third consideration that you should consider is adjunct professors, which means that your teachers at community college are not this is not like the only thing that they do, right? So many of them work other jobs, or maybe they even teach at the 4 year institution and they're teaching the same class at the community college, which means that they have a breakup of their time, which means that you don't always have their one-on-one attention, and that might require you to have more communication. So that means that you're going to have to be more forthright in your communication about deadlines, about wanting to get office hours, communicating about more help, because this is not the only position that they have as an adjunct professor. Or someone that they're just doing this on the side. They have work another full-time job. And so you might not have dedicated teachers. The number 4 thing that you want to consider is campus life. Now, this is something that is important to talk about, because when we think of college, or most young people think about college, they think, oh, this is my great way to get away from family and my parents, and I can be on campus by myself, and I can make adult decisions and do all the things. Well, for community college, that campus life might look a little different. So first and foremost, your community college may not have housing. So you are expected to probably have off-campus housing, or that you might be living at home and attending classes through your community college. Now, there are some community colleges that do have housing options, so you want to consider that, but it is kind of a rare thing. And so you want to see if that's something that you are wanting to have, you might want to try to look for those community colleges that are best for you and have those options. This also means that it's mostly a commuter life experience, meaning that everyone's coming on campus just for classes and leaving after they're done with classes. There's not a lot of lingering around. There's not a lot of, opportunity to kind of network as much as you can. So you will have to make extra effort into network to connect with people. The demographics of community college are also very different, which means that you can have, like I said, parents are going to school. You can have adult students. You can have those who were within your age. If you're within that 18 to 24 age, you can have military veterans in your class. It's going to be a diverse atmosphere, which is a benefit in most cases, but it is something to be aware of. So you're not thinking of it as like, oh, this is going to be the same thing as a 4-year college experience. It has a lot of those aspects, but it will be differently placed. So with that commuter, although you're saving money through, the tuition and your fees, you might need a car in order to get to the community college that you're thinking about. But one of the other benefits that I didn't mention about community college is that a lot of community colleges are using or near public transit. So you can use the metro trains or your buses in order to get to classes a lot more easier than you would a 4-year institution. Because it's a public institution, they try to make sure that they have access to the community and they provide a lot of community needs or support. So that is another benefit. But if you're wanting to drive and have that flexibility again, then there might be another expense of having a car in order to do that. In addition to campus life would be activities, right? So if you're thinking, oh, well, I'm really into sports and I want to be part of like a college sports team, community colleges, they do have sports and different activities that you can play a part in, but it might not be the same full-on experience that what you see on like a March Madness or just any other kind of school if you're considering more of that sports feel. But hey, that's okay. You can still go to games at the 4-year institutions and still cheer those teams on while you're a student at a community college. No one has to know, right? So if that is like a barrier for you, don't let it be a barrier for you if you're considering it more for cost. So those are all the considerations that you should think about when you're considering a community college. But as you can see, it's really up to you if you decide this to be a better option for you. So, is community college a better option? In some ways, yes. And in some ways for you, it might be like, not really. But at least you know it's an option now and that you have consideration to get a education at a cheaper rate and still get a valuable outcome in order for you to gain employment or just to have a great experience overall that provides you more flexibility. Thank you so much for turning into this video. I hope that it was helpful for you. Until next time, stay debt free.